Correcto wa do desu ka? That is Japanese for how you doing, collectors? So today we are talking about these four Japanese cars here. The one in front are by Kyosho and the one in back is from a Japanese Subaru dealership. So we'll take a look here in chronological order. This first car is the Honda S600 from 1964. And this car was sold up until 1966. Around 13,000 of them were made. And interesting to learn about is this was the first mass-marketed car by Honda. So there were left-hand, right-hand drive versions, and they were exported outside of Japan. What's interesting also about this car is it's actually chain-driven. So there's an inline four-cylinder up front here making around 57 horsepower. And there's a drive shaft running to the back, which goes to a cross drive shaft. And then off of each of those drive shafts, there's a chain actually powering each of the rear wheels. It's really weird. You can look it up online, but I have to imagine it's probably because Honda started as a motorcycle company, so they knew about chain drives. And this is a relatively small car, so maybe the chains could handle that kind of power, the weight involved. So let's look at the casting itself. So it's a really attractive, kind of like purplish gray. It's like a baby purple or something like that. It looks like a paint scheme you'd put into like your living room or something. But it's pretty nice. Let's see how old this is. 2005. So pretty old model, but seems to be pretty nice paint considering. We'll start with the top this time around. So there's a old Honda badge, I guess, there printed. Nice real ridges here. Really nice. There's an interior, and you can hopefully you can see the steering wheel is like a different color. I think it's yellow. It's supposed to be wood. It's like a yellow woodish color. Just a black top there. Let's take a look at the front here. So most Konamis, they have the plastic headlights, but the turn signals are just painted orange. A little chrome plastic grille with texture there. Chrome plastic bumper as well, separate piece. It's not part of the casting. Okay, so wheels look a little bit wide for something from this era. These tires should probably be narrower, but there's interesting tread. And there's a little silver paint here on the exhaust that's molded into this plastic base. So that's cool. Let's go around to the back. Taillights look nice, but they're not actually translucent plastic. They're just like that chrome plastic, and they're painted with like a translucent red over it. I guess it's effective. It's just not as nice as an actual translucent red clear kind of plastic. Oh well. White license plate, a little chrome paint here, or silver paint for the little white box there. Trunk, you got the silver on the gas cap and the hinges for the trunk, and there's like these silver ridges here. I'm guessing those are like chrome moldings on the top ridge of the car, on the real car. And then the door handle is painted silver here. And there's printing here. It says Honda in script. And look at the panel lines. Really tight panel lines. Very nice. Nicely done. The wheels, I guess they're alright. I mean, they're pretty basic looking, but this car is from 1964. What I do like is like a little, what's supposed to be the Honda logo printed on there. Look at the naked eye. I can't tell if that's an H or not. I don't know if the camera can see it as better than me. It looks like it could be an H. See, let's take a look at that rear wheel. See if I hopefully can focus. So I do think that's almost an H. So that's really impressive for such a small diecast. So this is a really nice model. Very nice. The Konamis have suspension as well. But this is a fraction of the cost of a TLV. So I'm very happy with that one. Okay, let me pull out a new little CD coaster I made. It's really small in the parking spot there, but we'll let that spin in the back. And then the next car in the order is the Honda ZGS, body code N360, and this one's from 1971. This car was sold between 1970 and 1974. It was later on replaced by the Honda Civic. Okay, so there's a little two-cylinder up front, and it could have been either a 350 or a 600cc, depending on whether this is a domestic model or an export model. But either way, it was considered a K car, fit the Japanese K car regulations, which is why it's so small and such a small engine. So wasn't one of the other thing here. This Honda back here is a rear wheel drive. This is a front wheel drive, front engine and front wheel drive. So being a Konami again, even this tiny diecast has suspension, really neat. Okay, so let's get into a little more detail here on the casting. See some printing there on the upper right. I would have to assume that says GS. Yeah, okay, it does. And then there's some sort of badge there. I assume that might be like a, it looks like a Z, so maybe that's a special emblem that they made for this particular car. Seems to be nicely printed. Little gas cap recess, door panels, little silver for the handle, so that's great. The molding, silver and black, painted nicely. The wheels look like they're stamped steel, which would probably be correct for an economy car from this era. Tires have nice curvature. So silver in the center cap and silver on the little lug nuts. You don't actually get that detail on most die casts. Look at these tiny silver lug nuts. So that's really cool to see. The little printed on turn signal, so that's nice, or maybe it's a reflector. Let's go to the back here. Does that say Honda in the middle? I can't tell. Yes, I think it does. I'm not sure if the camera can see it because it's on a silver backing. But right here it says black Honda. It's text Honda and it's on a silver thing, which is probably like a chrome piece on the real car. So that's pretty impressive. It's really tiny. That says GS. Now this one does have plastic taillights and they're really thin. So very nice. A little printed on white license plate. Different separate chrome bumper here. Yeah, the exhaust tip is part of the base casting. It's just black. But, you know, this is a really cheap economy car, so maybe it just had a raw steel exhaust tip, so that's probably even correct. A little chrome here on this plastic window, and then this giant, like, I think that, I don't know if this is a rubber piece on the real car. It's really weird. This giant black shape. Not sure what the deal is with that. Alright, looks like there's some black molding here on the roof, although this one's kind of worn off, and there's some paint bubbling going on here, which makes me wonder. Again, this one was made in 2005. Probably the same series as the other one. Maybe they had like a small Japanese car collection that year. Okay, well anyways, for a car 15, 16 years old, a model that old, it's not so bad. Nice ridging here. Really voluptuous trunk. Voluptuous hood. It's like a little power bulge, but this thing makes like 36 horsepower from what I read on Wikipedia. It says GS here, and there's the Honda logo again. Or the period correct Honda logo. Nice big headlights, plastic, very nice. Some ridging here in the grille, and then a separate chrome plastic piece for the bumper. A little orange there for the turn signals there. But again, really wide tires. There's just no way a car that makes 36 horsepower is going to have tires that wide. These look like supercar tires. They look like muscle car tires from the 60s. Well, anyways, can't get everything in the world. So, again, not as nice as the first car because of the paint rash on the roof, but pretty cool car in general. So small, so minuscule. So small I can actually put it up there with the other one. Alright, third car in line. We have the first generation Mazda RX7. In Japan, it's known as the Savannah. Body coat SA22C, and this one's from 1978. And that was the first year these things first came out, but they're sold up until 1985. When I was a kid, my dad's friend had a maroon one of these, and we were in the back seat, the 2+2 seats, and he drove around pretty fast, and I thought it felt like a fast car, but again, I was like probably like 6 years old, so. Okay, well, anyways, this has a 2-rotor engine up front, you know, the Wankel rotary stuff. It's either a 1.1, later on it may have been a 1.3 liter, making around 100 horsepower, which isn't much power at all, to be honest with you. But it was still a pretty successful car for Mazda. Almost 500,000 of them were made over the years. Okay, so now obviously you can see the black molding on the side is kind of wearing off or wasn't really applied properly. So that's a problem. But above it you can see Mazda RX7 there, hopefully. It's printed nicely in silver, turn signal, gas cap. What's really cool about this is the interior is like tan. Now this is a used diecast. I at first thought this was actually painted by someone, but when I look at the bottom, it is riveted. So that's the way it came from Konami. So that's really nice, because usually these kind of cars are just all black interiors and no detail. So Konami, great stuff. You got a separate black piece here for the steering column and wheels. So great detail. I really wish Konami still made diecasts. A little blemish there in the paint though, contaminant under the paint. Okay, so it says Mazda there. Pretty nice printing there. Looks like some paint rash starting here. So when was this made? 2005. All these are from 2005. Must be the same collection of cars. Okay, well, anyways, it's really nice. This black plastic trim here, really nice. It's, you know, they painted it on the transparent piece there, I guess. These wheels, these mesh, they look like Spider-Man wheels. Very spidery. Unfortunately, no air going through them, but I guess you can understand. They're really small. But the center cap, again, is a different color. It's black this time around. So that's a nice detail that they went through. And the exhaust tips there, they're painted silver this time because they're pretty big, but they're flat. They're blocked off, so that's not so great. Let's see. I don't know what that red thing says. Probably, well, no, Savannah, or I'm not sure. It's so small, there's no way it could actually have legible text. But here you see the Mazda again. And then the taillights itself, it looks like it's red translucent plastic, and they painted silver on it and yellow on the back side of it. Okay, so this side again, the trim is kind of the black. You can see like the green through it, and the door handle is also losing its black. Suspension again, pretty neat. It's a really nice color. It's I'm trying to see if there's any metal flake in it. I don't know. I don't know if this is metallic. If it is, it's really faint. I think it's just a regular green, lime green. Okay, so the front we got painted on turn signals there, and like indication, I'm guessing there must be like a radiator gap there or something like that. Not sure. Alright, so these tires and wheels look more realistic, I guess, on a bigger car. This is still a pretty small car by today's standards. I'm actually thinking, since all three of these were made in the same year, I was thinking the tires are the same, but they're not. The diameter of these are actually different. So I'm mistaken. But they do seem to have like these old style treads from like the 60s and 70s. Okay, well, I'll let those three spin up there because they're so small. Alright, so the last car in this group is a 2007 Gen 3 WRX STI from Subaru. And I guess this is from a Japanese dealership. So the box doesn't have much. If anyone can read Japanese, that's what it is. But there's nothing else other than the color, white, and then WRX STI. On the side they're blank, so there's no card inside. I mean, this, I don't know, it was a used car, so I don't know if there was a different card in there. So we got this case, which I don't recognize either from any other brand. Maybe Hobby Japan? I don't have any Hobby Japan diecast, so I don't know. But it's definitely not, the base is not the same as a Kyosho or a Konami. It's a much wider base. Here's a, you know, the Konami base. So, and Kyosho bases are close to the size of this. So this is a pretty big base. There's one screw holding this thing on the bottom. So let's see, let's do the reveal on the bottom and see if there's a brand on there. Okay, so I actually had a 1998 Impreza wagon when I lived in Colorado as a station wagon, but it was just a regular one. It wasn't an STI or a WRX or anything like that, but it was a great car. So, again, yeah, there's no branding other than Subaru, so it's just a dealership model. I'm curious if anyone has a similar diecast, if it says, you know, who made this thing, because it looks pretty nice from initial impressions. Well, let's see here. Okay, so a nice metallic white here, although the way it's laid on again, it's really orange peely. Like my last video had a 356C from Kyosho, and that's what this reminds me. It's a really wavy orange peel kind of paint application, but the actual clear coat above it seems to be quite nice. Oh well. Now these wheels are really cool. I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick it up, but I almost see like a green. It's like a chrome plastic, but it's got a tint of green to it. So I don't know if the video camera is going to show that kind of color. It might just look like gray or dark chrome, but to my eye it looks like green. Quite interesting. Okay, so nicely molded door handles there, a little surround there, black moldings, looks good. The back here, there's a license plate that says STI. I mean, the Subaru logo looks good. And then, what is that? I think that also is STI, just in red. Alright, the one that's actually on the car. So these exhaust tips are really nice. They're chrome plastic pieces, but there's actually depth to them. Tiny bit of depth. Or it's like a little indent concave surface. Ooh, tiny bit of texture there. Okay, taillights. Really nice taillights. It's red translucent plastic, but the clear there is quite amazing. I don't know how these guys do that. I don't know if this is co-molded, meaning like they literally inject two different colors of plastic into the mold, or if they somehow painted the backside of this all red, but perfectly. It's just so perfect. I don't know. And then behind that red, you can see the ridges, like a real taillight, right? The chrome reflector inside the bucket, the light bucket. So whoever made this casting did a really good job just on that taillight. So the rear window also has really nice thin defroster lines. I don't think they're painted. I think they're literally just ridges in the casting itself for the glass. So that's probably the best defroster line I've actually seen on any of my cars. A lot of manufacturers are putting really wide printed defroster lines, which just don't look realistic at all. It'd be better to not even print anything on them. But this one is actually quite realistic looking because it's just so thin, like a real defroster line. Okay, so that's really good. We might as well continue on the top here. Now this is on the real car, that's a functional intake here on the front hood, because being a WRX STI, this is a turbocharged engine here. It's a 2.5 liter boxer engine, and the intercooler rests on top of the engine because there's a flat cylinders. And so also for rally racing, less dirt is going to get up in there. Whereas if you had a regular engine, the intercooler would be vertical up here, and a lot of dirt's going to get in there and mess it up. So pretty smart design on Subaru's part, I think. This engine is supposed to make around 300 horsepower, by the way. So windshield wiper blades are molded in and they're painted black. No issues there. Really nice Subaru logo again. And then that must say STI in red, and then white on the license plate, so very nice. Now, let's see if I can get really close in on this headlight and see if it looks just as good. It does look pretty good. So we got this plastic lens, but if you look behind it, that looks like a projector lamp. Right? You can see the curvature. So this car has the best lights I've ever seen in my short time collecting this scale of car. Really neat. Okay, so these are little fog lamps. There's no plastic there, but it's recessed and they're painted silver in there, so that's pretty good. And there's a little ridging here inside that grill. This might be hard to see because it's black. Same there, you can hear the ridging. This is a dental pick, by the way. It's one of those dental floss things. My previous one was just too big, I think. Alright, so wow, I gotta say, whoever the mysterious manufacturer of this car, if they could do this to all their cars, it'd be great. It's either Hobby Japan or Kyosho would be my guess about who's making this. But again, please leave a comment if you guys know better than me. Okay, one last thing. It does actually roll pretty well. I don't really care, but it does roll, so I guess when someone goes to buy a real Subaru in Japan, they could buy one of these and give it to their kid to destroy. Okay, so that's it for today. 4 Japanese cars. Pretty happy with all of them. So three classics and 1 modern. So please leave a comment if you guys know anything about that. And we'll see you around the next time. Bye.